Okay,
Watch that.
I think we're live. We are live. Hello. Everybody, welcome to Rowan. This is Rowan Woods. How are you tonight?
A fairly middling.
Fair to Midland, is that what you said?
Yeah, fair to middling.
Years. I love that. The first time I heard it was a girl I worked with, and she said it, and I was like, ah! And she was like, fair to Midland. And I was like, still not getting it.
I hear fair to middling, but I hear like fairly middling.
Fair to Midland.
So,
I like that.
fairly middling.
So that's like good.
So.
So could be better, could be
So.
worse.
No, you're not bad. You're not good. You're not great.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sad. You're just fairly middling.
Fair to Midland. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can dig that. We have Creole,
Yay!
Gargoyle, Mystery 30, and Duality Witch. Hello. I forgot to tell Creole today. Oh well.
I told him
Oh good. Okay.
because I know if I didn't tell him, he'd kill me.
I think this is exciting. Noah's in the house,
Of course.
of course. He said
A horse is a horse. Of course. What do you say?
that is an excellent Nick at Night.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
So okay, tell me a little bit about yourself as a witch.
Can I use the term lazy?
Of course.
I really am lazy. It's just I don't know. A lazy, statue obsessed one. You've seen in my altar. You see all the statues.
Yes, and it's gorgeous, and it's so peaceful. Which I'm overly curious now because I have never worked with the stanks.
With the stakes.
The stanks. My
I'm
language.
hungry.
I put out a video earlier today, and my speech was horrible. It was like tripping over my words, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
an editor very much. Like I think I've edited one video this whole time, and I just can't do it. That's laziness too. So I totally.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like when seeing your space and how you have it set up, it's so calming and peaceful, and it really kind of draws you in and cradles you. And I find that fascinating because that's not something I know about, and I want to learn more, which is where you. Oh yeah, it's the innocent.
Hee, I'm a good Christian boy.
A nice little Catholic boy.
I'm not
Are you?
a Catholic.
Are
Oh,
you Catholic?
no, I was actually. Well, my family, the sheep. But my family around me were Baptist, which is far away from Catholic as you can ever possibly think. But I was given the freedom to choose whatever I wanted.
Great.
My mom was the type that she didn't want to force anything on me. So even herself, she's not. She often tells me that she believes in God, but she doesn't believe it in the way that you see it today. Overbearing, asshole-ish. Like she's never went to church. I don't think. I don't know. I've never asked her how far into it she went, but she just never cared as long as I was happy.
That's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. My dad, on the other hand, my dad doesn't say anything about religion either. I don't know what his beliefs are. The only thing I know about my dad is he watches a lot of ancient aliens and shit like that.
I love that.
He's very astrologically centered. He always watches the history shows, like ancient aliens, Egypt. Good with computers too, but that's different. And I think that's where I get a little bit of it from. Is because the only thing I hate is when he watches ancient aliens at night and I'm trying to go to sleep. Because that shit scares me for some reason. Like, it creeps me out.
I can't say anything because it does to me too. Like I firmly, and whether I get shit for this or not, I am not. I don't think we're superior as we think we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to think that we're the only ones capable of superiority in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit closed-minded to me. I feel it's a lot closed-minded to me.
Especially when our universe is how big, like nobody knows. And apparently it grows every day, so
Right.
it's still growing.
It's infinite. It never stops growing.
Yeah.
You know, we can't be the only ones here. I think we're the only ones that can't get off this rock properly, but I don't think we're the only ones out there floating
Only
around.
ones who can't get their shit together.
Right. Well, look at all the crap we got shit going on over here. We got shit. We can't get our shit together collectively as a species, much less trying to get off the planet we were created on. You know what I mean?
If we can't help ourselves in our planet, how are we gonna have intergalactic relations and political stances and shit like that?
Exactly. I'm so not worried. And this could go off on a whole tangent about the moon.
That's a whole different story.
Yes, that could be a whole other series, conspiracy wise. But I think your dad,
Yeah.
because one, he's not forcing anything down your throat. He does scare you at night. But the fact that, because he's my generation, I assume. I'm 40. No?
My dad just turned 58.
Oh, so your dad's a little bit older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. But for him to be pulled to that is, I find that fascinating in itself. You know what I mean? Because that's not, like, my dad watches the History Channel religiously and Discovery Channel. He doesn't do the alien side of things, but he does, like, the Egyptian, all the way back.
Sasquatch.
Right.
Swear to God.
Exactly. But he was raised Catholic, but he doesn't practice Catholicism anymore, although his family does. His whole family does. And it's very deep-rooted up there. He's from Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But me and Mom were Southern Baptists. So I understand your struggle there. But, you get to a certain point, and I totally got off topic because I lost my train of thought. But whatever, we're just going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You just get to a certain point. You kind of have to be yourself because you can't continue to try and fake yourself through something.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It doesn't work. So I guess that's what brings me to my next question is, how did you come about your path? Since you were kind of let loose to go do your own thing, you could have gone many different directions, but you came here.
Yeah. Well, when I first started, it was, of course, Wicca. I think that's the stepping stone a lot of people have.
Yeah.
You usually step on it and you'll stay, or step on it and you'll leap off, that kind of thing. But it was Wicca, and then I was like, I'm not sure. So I'll just say I'm just practicing securely, or just not having a direct term. And then after that, I honestly don't remember how exactly I stepped onto this. I think it started with Santa Muerte, because that was a big thing. You saw on my channel before. I'm not sure if you did. That was the big thing. And then she kind of led me into more of this.
Which I totally understand, because I have a spot for her here in my room. I don't show her spot very often because it's private, and for just like everything else, her relationship is different with everybody. So that's one of those touchy subjects amongst people.
She's very touchy in general.
True. Yeah, another topic for another time.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, exactly. That's why we're just going to go. But I think that's a natural progression. Like mine, I didn't really start with Wicca. I think I jumped just head, like, into the bookstore or it was the library when I was really young. And I think I might have read a few things, I think Wicca is a safe spot.
Yeah, it's a good starting point.
It's got that organization that some of us from religious backgrounds can relate to.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then it's all downhill. I didn't realize the animals were in here with me. Awesome.
Meow.
They're laying down now. Okay. Well, so how do you, on your path, because this is kind of like a self-discovery thing.
Yeah.
We're facets of ourselves all the time. So, in that, how do you feel about your path from where you started to where you are centered now?
Very happy about it. I'm glad I found. I'm glad I found this little. Because to be honest, I see more um, manifestation, more things happening in this part of my path as opposed to way back. Because I think I see things happening more now as I go about it than it did in the past. Because I felt like in the past my workings may have not manifested the way that I think they manifested the way I wanted them to, or at all.
Gotcha.
But now that I'm at this point, I can see it, and I know it.
That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true. I can say the same, when from starting to now, as you evolve
Mm-hmm.
as a person, but in your practice, you get more confident, and you don't that second guessing isn't there as much. Just,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm going to do, and it might be outside the box, and it might not make sense to everybody else on the planet, but it works for you, and that's all that matters. I think a lot of people lack that still starting out because they think everything has to be a certain way, and then you just got to relax a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it happen.
Hey, dog.
Yeah. This is all.
Hi, Olive.
Hello. Hello. Now you can't see her. Okay. There she is. Oh, God. Okay. Moving on. Okay. I never get peace. Actually, I got peace the other night. It was great. Okay, so what sets your practice apart from what you see in the norm?
What I see in the norm.
What?
Well, other than it actually being my own and not everybody else's. That could be the straight beat around the bush, no bullshit answer. But what sets it aside from the norm? Well, you see in the community a lot. The norm has nothing to do with Christian deities or spirits or entities. The majority of the time,
Right.
if you think of the basic pagan community,
True.
taking aside the whole maybe hoodoo community and um, those other traditions, and you just get to like what you see all the time, Wicca and maybe traditional witchcraft in some areas, that kind of thing. But you, even now, even though that you see a lot of people practicing hoodoo and stuff like that, still a lot of people consider that not normal.
True.
In our practice. Yeah.
Okay. And I like that. That's because the whole me on the perception of normal versus not normal. Because in our community, as broad as it is, like really anything goes, as long as you're not harming someone. I think that's kind of a blanketed kind of, you just don't harm other people, and there are those that do, and in certain aspects of hoodoo and other practices, they do the certain things with animals and stuff like that. I really lost the word I was going to use for that because I almost said sacrifice, and that wasn't. It is and isn't the right term. So I don't want to say the
ritual
wrong thing.
offering.
There you go. Bloodletting. There we go. That's what kept coming to mind. But and that is not normal for some of, when you view other practices, because it's not what you do, it's not what you consider normal. So I don't I'm seeing more use of the saints in our community, but not as not enough for me to be knowledgeable. And because I didn't have, and you're a Southern Baptist as well, we didn't use saints, when I did go to church, because I actually did
And if you prayed to them or the Virgin Mary, that was considered wrong, sin.
Right.
Was it, what's it
Exactly.
called?
The
It's got a
idol.
certain term. Idolatry.
Yes, exactly. A lot of stuff about the way I was raised doesn't sit well. As you probably
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't. It's very uncomfortable, and it was not a place of. It did not make me feel good, you know.
Yeah.
So, and for my mother to step out of her box, kind of like that was a big deal, because we have like, unfortunately, I'm part of that group that got exiled from the other side of their family.
Oh yeah.
They have anything to do with us anymore because of that,
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's okay because we weren't really close to begin with, but it's just like, really, in this day and age, I am still the same person. I just don't believe the same things you do. Doesn't make me any different or any less than I was before. But okay.
Yeah.
So, and I hate that. And the fact that you use the saints, what pulled you to the saints? I guess is where I'm trying to ask.
Well, the main thing that pulls me towards the saints more so is because the majority of them, you can actually see them in history as living, breathing people. You have that connection because uh, they actually lived and breathed. Some you can, okay, the ones that you see in the Bible, like Mary, maybe Lazarus, you may not be sure like they were actual people because it's the Bible. You're not sure if they were just made up, if they're actual people. The more recent ones, like Mother Teresa,
Right.
we saw her, she lived, she breathed, she's a saint now. We can relate to her more because she, or anyone of the saints who are like that, lived the way we did, or lived the way that we do. For example, okay, say Saint Rita of Cassia, she is usually called upon to help people who are being abused, whether by their husbands, being abused by their parents, more so husbands and marital relations, but definitely children relations as well, because she herself was abused.
Oh,
Her husband abused her, and her children didn't abuse her, I don't think, but they were very violent. So you can relate to her because she had the same things, and she would be the one that you would petition if you went through that because she went through it. She knows how it feels, and she would definitely help you. That kind of thing. The whole relating on a whole like personal level.
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any of that. The only one I knew was Mother Teresa.
Only one you knew was Mother Teresa, yeah.
But I never. It's I've never studied them. I would not have known that otherwise. That's why I guess I find it fascinating because you have answers that I want.
Okay, keep going, keep going.
Okay, so
I like talking about him.
okay, so
This is Saint Rita.
oh, she's cute.
Mm-hmm.
So what in the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's I'm sure literature that goes along with like to know what saint to petition for what issue,
Mm-hmm.
and then is there just like a kind of like an all encompassing, someone you just like sit and talk to, or a generalized one to go to for just day-to-day stuff? How do you break them down?
Oh, each saint is considered a patron of a certain skill or occupation or situation.
Okay.
For example, of course, they aren't just confined to those spaces, but what they're generally known for and what their skills are based more for helping. For example, like I said, Saint Rita, she be called upon for uh, marital problems, whether it be abuse or just you two not getting along. Um, Children, even people having it out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Usually, every saint is good for protection. It's just that's an all general thing they're all good for. For example, another saint would be Saint Joseph.
Okay.
You know, the foster father of Jesus, husband to the Virgin Mary. Joseph is really good for protection, of course, job getting, house selling and buying, raises, and anything dealing with a father-child relationship or dealing with your father. And we can see that because he was a carpenter. He knows what it means to work, how to work for your money, knows the importance of work for receiving money. So he'll definitely help you get that source of income. And then we see him in protection because he took Mary and Jesus out of, was it Egypt? No, they fled. They fled.
They fled from, I keep wanting to say Israeli, it's not Israel.
Israel to the other place. I don't remember.
One was going for religious prosecution, and they were being exiled, executed, and they had to flee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somebody's going to tell us the right thing.
And you can see that in the protection. He moved them himself and was like, we're out of here. A lot of the associations come from themselves as they were people. For example, St. Lucy. St. Lucy was killed, and before she was killed, her eyes were gouged out, and then they grew back. So in the iconography, you see her holding her eyes, which makes her not only the patron for eye diseases and problems, but in a more folk magic sense, the patron of second sight. Card reading, anything to do with psychic ability, third eye. So you can petition her not only to help heal your eyes, help keep your eyes healed, to remove evil eye, but to also help you open up your psychic ability.
That's amazing. Okay.
Because of the whole two sets of eyes. One to see the physical, one to see the spiritual.
I had no idea she was around. I like that.
We got enough. Oh, go ahead.
No, this is interesting. Like, I had no idea. Like, it didn't catch on when you said Joseph until you started, like, telling the story, and I was like, oh, that Joseph. I got you. I'm right there.
Yeah, St. Joseph, yeah.
St. Joseph. I had no idea he was even a saint. I'll be 100% honest.
There he is right there.
That's it. I've seen that statue. I didn't know.
Yeah. I got this from, like, a flea market. I think it was a state sale.
Dude. So, you're kind of amazing. So, okay. No, I'm serious. Like, you're so knowledgeable about your craft. Not that some of us aren't, but, like, talking to me, I sound like a bobblehead. You know what I mean? Like, I bounce around all the time because I can't get a straight thought out. ADD. Mm-hmm. But, like, when you talk, like, I'm totally enamored in what you're saying, and you're making me want to learn more. Whether I use it or not, I want to have the knowledge. You know what I mean?
And you're making me want to say more.
Spit it out, homie. Let's go.
Okay, so whole dealing with the psychic ability. There's another one, St. Clara or St. Claire. I'm not too versed on her because I've known about her, but I haven't read on her. But basically, during her deathbed, I think it was probably God, an angel, basically broadcasted the mass that she wanted to go to or see on her bedroom wall. Keep in mind, this not thousands, like hundreds of years ago when there was no such thing as television. They broadcasted it on the wall for her to see, kind of like a teleprompter. Mm-hmm. And when people were invading, she took, the giant monstrance?
Yes.
And she put it up at them, and it shone a bright light. People who's listening to me, I'm not too versed on her story, so forgive me. And it shined, and it went away. They went away. But from that, she is considered the patron of cleansing and clearing, and setting right any negative thing, like cleansing your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit, your home, your house, whatever. And also, that gave her, for some reason, the patronage over television.
I get that because of the. I can see that.
So chasing away negativity, cleansing, protecting, and also she's another one of the unrecognized saints of psychic ability.
Okay.
Basically, she can help you develop it and also clear anything that's preventing it from shining through.
Huh. Okay.
So, and let's see another one. Let me look at my little shrine here, see which one I can talk about.
Because we hear a lot about females. Let's hear something about another male.
I don't have too many males. I only have like 3.
Okay, so we
But
have, and who else?
Joseph, Jude, and Michael the Archangel. St. Jude.
St. Jude. Let's go with St. Jude.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people know St. Jude. At least seen him. Probably not you. I can see it in your face. You don't.
I'm like, I know.
But here's
Wonder if
his
that,
candle. If you can see it. I'm sorry, the lighting's bad.
that's good. I can see it.
But St. Jude was one of the 12 apostles. Not
Oh,
to be confused with Judas.
Judas, right.
He's not Judas. He's basically the patron saint of impossible causes. One of them. Saint Rita is also considered the saint of impossible causes. But the reason he's for impossible causes because he's so fast and so direct at helping people in whatever situation. Because I heard the biggest belief, because of him being so fast and wanting to help in any situation, is because for so long he did not receive devotion because they thought he was Judas. Judas, so close together.
Right. That makes
So
sense.
he'll help because he wants that devotion spread. Hey, I'm not Judas. I'm doing good things. I'm not Judas.
Right.
Judas, who's that guy? Fuck him. Like that kind of thing.
I wonder if Judas is getting a bad rap because somebody else didn't bend him on him. Like, has anybody ever thought about
know.
Like, how do we
I know.
We don't
Like,
know.
how do we know Judas is such a bad person?
Right. Like, there's so many questionable actions in that book. Like, come on. He's really, like, 2,000 years, we're still blaming this guy. Like,
You know, Jesus and Judas were totally, like, they were totally gay.
You think so?
He betrayed Jesus with a kiss.
Oh, okay. I see where you're
It
going
says
with
in the
that.
Bible, "Why must you betray me with a kiss, Judas?" Like, it's common sense.
Homophobia is new to this age because if you go back way a long time ago, up into very recently, it was a standard. It was a norm.
Ancient Greece.
Exactly. Hello. There
Even
were
a lot of the deities.
again another
That's
topic.
a whole nother topic.
Exactly. This is a whole other topic. We got lots of topics rolling out tonight.
But okay, back to Jude. Jude, impossible causes. And a lot of the ways, a lot of the people of saints' deaths also have a tendency to have a little bit to do with what they are as saints. Some people will say Saint Jude is kind of slow at sometimes because the way he died, his head was bashed in.
Oh.
They kind of relate him being slow for his head being bashed in. I'm not sure. He's always been so fast for me. I think it must be, it just depends on the person, I guess. Possible cases. St. Jude's Hospital.
See, I wondered if that was connected.
And also, that's a good way to thank him if he ever comes through is by donating to his kids over in St. Jude's Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of his... Okay. Another thing with the saints is usually the only thing you'll need is a glass of water, a candle, and their image. And that's all you need to petition them other than like your piece of paper that says what you want. They, of course, they'll accept offerings. There's some saints that I have that like coffee. Some that like flowers. Flowers is also all around good offering, but very simple. And also, if maybe they were a saint that lived a simple life, maybe lived in a nunnery or something like that, has to do with what they like.
Gotcha.
There's some saints that will say no to alcohol at all, like no alcohol.
Right.
It just depends on how they live. That's why you have to get to know them and read their stories, because you could be given a saint maybe brandy, and brandy was the drink that their husband always drank, and that's the reason their husband died, and they don't like brandy. That kind of thing.
You humanize them to get to the factor.
Yeah.
You're talking to them, petitioning them, asking for help and guidance. It's like you're going at them from a human aspect.
Yes, that's exactly how.
An obscure deity or something of that nature.
To
make them human is a connection.
Because they were human in their lives. The ones that we know.
Right.
Are, like I said, the ones from like the Bible, it's kind of hard.
Especially
if you're
evidence.
yeah, substantial evidence. But even there are some saints that are very petitioned nowadays that there's no actual trace of them actually existing, but they still come through. But it's the whole thing, like a deity aspect as well with those.
Well, you have to put a level of your own, like,
Thought.
I believe nothing has power until it's given power.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're unsure of what you're doing, or if you know you're being selfish in your action, then it's probably not going to work out the way you want. You know,
Exactly.
that's, you know, it's being true to self, though, you know, which is another, but we're just hitting them left and right. So can I ask a question?
Sure.
Saint Expedite.
Saint, I was looking at him.
Oh, like literally?
I have this picture on the wall. I was looking at him.
Okay. What? Okay, because you said Jude is one for fast results, and
In some cases, yeah.
okay, and Saint, I hear Saint Expedite talked about a lot among social. So, what sets those two apart?
Well, Saint Expedite is also one of those saints that were actually even the Pope and his whole organization aren't sure on his origins because they don't have any substantial proof that he was a person.
Mm.
We have the story, but we don't have the body.
Gotcha.
We don't have the proof that he was alive, because the story is that one of the biggest well-known stories is that a group of nuns at a church had received a statue of him, but the statue had no name on it. The only thing that they saw on the package was the word expedite.
Mm.
So that's the only proof they got to put the statue with the name. They weren't. It could not be his. It may not be his name at all, but that's the main thing that sets them apart. Is we have sort of proof of Jude, but Expedite's still in the clouds.
Right, because
and also I think they removed Saint Expedite from the Catholic liturgical, the L word calendar.
I can't say it either.
The calendar that has all the feast days. They removed him.
I know that was a big topic a couple years ago. I remember reading an article somewhere because I read my dad's old time magazines, and National Geographics, because I find them fascinating, and I'm not scared to admit that I'm an old fart and I like to read. But there was a thing. It was a huge thing that the Catholic, maybe it was the Papacy or Pope, whatever it's called, the Vatican was removing a lot of saints. Like they culled them out, you know, and people were in an uproar because a lot of the ones that were removed were like heartfelt to people, and they didn't want them removed, and they felt that they were shaming the saint by an action such as that. But they did it anyway.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that? I assume that you're feeling the same way they did.
It's the thing is, whether or not they're on the calendar or removed, the saint's still a saint. They're still getting the devotion. They're still helping people. It's not like by them removing the people from the calendar, it's like removing them from the universe.
Gotcha.
It does hurt to know that the saint that you love truly doesn't have official status anymore. But as long as that saint's still there and still helping,
that's all that should matter.
And all that should matter. I really don't think the saint cares.
Probably not.
They're
I don't know. I might be offended. I'm gonna be honest. Like, if I ever got anywhere like sainthood, I'm not ever gonna get there. But in that area, and you remove a couple thousand years later, I'm gonna be like, "Are you serious right now?
Are you fucking kidding me?"
I mean, I'd be upset. Like, my spiritual form would probably just be to the wind. I would be angry.
That's true. I would be pissed off too.
Like, really? Can you believe these bitches? Seriously?
Like I'm just floating on a cloud somewhere. Like, What the
Yeah.
fuck?
So, I think I asked my major points that we had talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay. In your practice,
Mm-hmm.
outside the saints, what other elements do you tend to incorporate or pull from?
Well, I do currently give honor and devotion to Aphrodite. Just because I have the saints and the Virgin Mary and stuff doesn't mean I don't believe in other gods. Believe it or not, my first goddess was actually Hecate.
Oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
hey!
Mm-hmm. She still has her altar, but I haven't actually spoken to her in a long time. There's points where I will do devotions to her and then, as bad as it sounds, not do them as often. But if she honestly had a truly big problem with it, I would have got a slap in the face a long time ago.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I
And
think she knows why.
right. And
Cause
and I was gonna say, and that goes back to everybody's deities and everybody's like saints and whatnot. Everybody has a different experience with it, and you can't sit here and say, "Oh, that's wrong," because fuck you, no, it's not.
mm-hmm.
You can't tell somebody how they're gonna practice. But go ahead. Sorry, I digress.
It's different if I was like, I said "f you" and then just stopped working with her. My practice changed and it grew, and I feel like she's still there. I may not feel her, but she's just watching over still. Because I know if something big ever happens and I need help, she'll probably be like right there.
Oh yeah.
And she is actually, I think, the one who brought me to Santissima Muerte, because the biggest thing that the only thing that I had a problem with in my worship to Hecate was her, maybe not, me not feeling her there more often. Like how Hecate is? She kind of watches from afar.
Mhm.
Um, I wasn't down with that. I was clingy. I wanted more. And that's what Santissima. Santissima is the one that's always there. Like, what you doing? What you need?
Exactly. And see, mine is reversed.
Yeah.
Hecate is not. Um, she's not like up at like. Well, she'll get up in my grill quick if I'm fucking
Like
up.
this. Hi, what's up? What you doing?
What are you doing? You know that's not right. You're
We've
gonna
talked about this before.
right. The whole foot tap. Oh, let me get out of that. Foot tapping. Like really, really. Did we not
Mm-hmm.
have this conversation?
Really?
Let some shit over for you. Let me break something you like a lot. Like my no, seriously, she's mean. She gets downright ugly when like she's not vengeful, I don't think, but like when she wants her point, like she wants you to understand where she's coming from. But Santissima, she for me is always in the background, but she'll jump in quick if something's going on in my house. Like I don't have to. Like, she lets me know. She's the one that like will tickle my little side of my head and be like, you got something going on in here you're not aware of.
Yep.
So they're kind of like different roles for me. But she hangs out in the background, but I know she's there, and we do our dedications, and we have our chit chats, and we speak, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a different conversation than Hecate. And now that is probably going to piss somebody else off that I've said any of that because they practice differently and they don't believe in such things. But for me, that's what works, and for you, that's what works for you.
And with me, I always make sure that Santissima has water on her altar. But ever since I started working, I work all the time, basically. And so my daily devotions to her kind of dwindled down. It's been, I think, a couple of weeks since the last time I did like a full thing for her.
Mm-hmm.
But if she had a problem with it, she would have slapped my ass a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's the difference between purposely doing it and then life.
They understand. Like, I firmly believe, like, they know. They know. Like, for you, she wants water from you. For me, she demanded another candle, like her own
Mm-hmm.
different candle. She has 3 candles. She has a skull, a color coordinator, and then her actual candle.
Like, she has a huge altar.
Yeah.
She has her own space.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, like, my closet is her. I counted, I have 38 statues of her.
Obsession.
Not my fault. Not my fault.
To be fair, everybody's got their vice. Like, I can't say anything. I have everywhere. Rocks and crystals and stones. Like, I can't leave shit alone.
Mm-hmm.
You have statues, I have crystals. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. One takes up less space than the other, but
yeah, because I haven't gotten into like big specimens. I don't have the bank account for that.
I mean, yeah.
Because they're expensive for a rock. For like something, if I had the skill and the equipment, I could go dig up myself. Okay, like that's I've contemplated such actions.
Right,
No,
yeah.
do it myself. I don't need you people. Whatever. I am almost over this junk.
Okay, what's next?
Next, okay, what have we covered? Oh my god,
A lot.
we ran through everything I had written down.
If we run out of stuff, I can keep going over saints.
Well, okay, that was the other thing. What was the other part of your practice? So you have your saints. Like I have Hecate, and then I do meditation, and then I pull from like Cajun origins.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what do you pull? I know we've talked about it briefly, but what folk magic, when you speak of folk magic, what exactly are you talking about?
Folk magic. Basically, the little things that you learn growing up, like broomstick falls over, company's coming, or that kind of don't sweep over people's feet. You sweep the look away. What's another one? Somebody's yelling about something. I don't know. My mom's crazy.
Do you do the spill salt?
I recently started doing that. The big thing I do is knock on wood.
Yeah. You see, I don't do that. I go, that's the hardest piece of wood I've ever met in my life. I'm hard-headed, so I'll just be like,
I don't pick up a penny unless it's heads up.
see, I don't do that anymore. I quit doing that because I was like, you know what? Fuck it. That's an extra penny I didn't have. The fuck am I? It's because I got car payments now. I would pick that bitch up. I don't care. It's good luck. I just got you.
Like, I'm the opposite way. I have enough money. I just don't have enough luck.
I don't have enough luck either. Good lord.
Not all the candle spells in the world can give me the luck I need.
The universe is working against us. Not against us, but like against. Like I feel that way in my soul. Like I'm just being battered. But I'm okay. Pretty much.
And it's not like their fist is a knife. Like,
right?
yes. Of course, I do tarot.
Mm-hmm.
Pendulum.
That?
Hmm?
Do you do tarot often? Like, is that like a main faction?
It's very big in me finding out what my spirits want, or just and also the regular tarot, like love, money, health, what's going on, that kind of thing.
The huge, you know.
If Creole's still here, he can tell because I've given readings for him before.
Yes, he's still in here. I haven't even looked at these freaking.
I can't.
They're talking amongst themselves.
Where's St. Clair? I need her to telecomment on
the. Okay, actually, Noah said, "Can we talk about Saint Felicia, patron saint of farewells?"
All I can say is bye, Felicia.
Bye. I do a lot of. See, my broom sweeping is different. The way if I sweep an unmarried person's feet, she will not get married.
We will not get married,
yeah. And then there was closing the door checking the lock 3 times, closing the door 3 times. That might be OCD kicking in.
One of the things for me was I don't think this is like a folk tradition for anywhere. At least I've not heard of. But when I was little and I had dream catchers, I would shake out my dream catcher before I went to bed.
To get rid of the juju.
Get rid of the juju.
Stuff.
Because I think one time I had a dream catcher over my bed and I had a bad dream. And I told my mom, I was like, I had a bad dream, but my dream catcher was over my bed. What happened? And she was like, well, maybe you have to shake it out. And then, needless to say, I never got bad dreams.
See? There you go. That's mommy magic right there.
Mm-hmm. That mommy magic didn't work when I found my teeth in the jewelry box and the tooth fairy was ruined.
See, I did the tooth fairy thing very, like, sporadic because I was a broke mommy. Mommy give you a lollipop before she'll give you $1. You know what I'm saying?
Watch your other teeth out.
Right? I have them all. I kept my
mom has mine.
Yeah, it's something, I don't know.
She has my dried up umbilical cord.
I have that too.
Oh my god.
From both kids. Look, I'll go a step further and I can show you. It might not, it's gonna gross you out. I have the little, yes I do. Not the skin, but the little cap. I kept everything. I have their hair. I have recent hair. I have their teeth. If they lose a tooth now, I'm gonna keep that bitch too. You can go get the
Hopefully not.
Oh, well, I mean, actually I would totally keep it. But, like, and that's, my grandmother kept her kids' stuff. My mom did mine. I don't know if my uncles did any of that, but I know my mother did. She followed through with my grandmother, which followed through from her mother. So I guess, I mean, it's full passed down in a manner.
Yeah.
So I think that's excellent. And, you know, you never know when you're going to need some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Still.
If I could clip people's hair just randomly without people getting curious about it, I'd just have such a wife.
I've done that. One time I was at school, this bitch was just talking bad shit about my friend to the point to where she was gonna physically beat my friend up. And the way it was is I was in the middle. I was friends with her and I was friends with her, but more friends with the one that was being harassed. So I walked up to the one who was doing all this shit talking at lunch, and I was like, "Hey, you got a gray hair?" And I was like, "Yoink."
Nice.
And then I had a tissue in my hand. I wrapped it up, and
did we use?
That's what you call gangster magic. What?
Gangster. That's right. That's how we
And what did I use?
Did you use it?
Yeah, I used that bitch.
Hell yeah, you did.
Hell yeah, I did.
That's all. I like. See, that's the kind of stuff I like. Because it's like, it's not your mundane dribble of, you know, let me do this. Nah, it's thinking on the fly. You just grab that shit and go, and you go home and you destroy somebody. And I know that's not how you're supposed to be, but sometimes people need to be held accountable for their actions in a not so positive manner, in my opinion. Because bitches be tripping.
One thing that we didn't talk about is what is technically the definition of a saint. What is a saint?
Oh, that is a good topic, and I have no freaking clue.
Basically, the way that I learned and kind of subscribed to is that a saint is basically a higher being, elevated, who carries your prayers and your petitions to the higher being. Basically, think of it as being your lawyer.
Okay.
And so you tell them what is going on, what you need, what's happening, and then they'll judge it. Usually, majority of the time, they'll figure out if it's worth their time or not, and then they'll carry it on up, and then through them, they'll bring it back. That kind of thing. That's how I see it in my mind.
It makes sense.
It's a lot of people believe it's not the saint themselves granting it. It's just through them it's being granted. You could see it either way.
I've heard, and I don't remember, but I read something. Someone was trying to explain something in the same field of the saint is like the messenger.
Yeah.
and it's
Exactly.
carried to the higher ups to get approval or
Mm-hmm.
denial, and then it takes that back to you in the form of the way the thing works out.
Exactly.
Okay, that was the easiest. That's the easiest thing I've ever had. Like the explanation of.
Yeah,
It's
that's usually how
relatable.
it is. Other than if you with Santa Isima Muerte, some people believe she's a saint, some people believe she's something all different. It seems like that whole entire thing is not applicable to her. She'll grant it right then and there.
Yeah.
Like she ain't got to carry it to nobody. She'll be like, yeah, you're getting it, or no, you're not getting it. That's
Well,
basically.
she's some gangster in her own right. So, like, she's hardcore.
Yeah.
Which we could do a whole nother video.
Yes.
I think we should.
I think we should.
Look, we talked about doing a video live. Oh, how dang? What you doing? I got all my errands done. I was like,
I ain't got nothing.
look, it's hump day. We need to break it up.
It's hump day. It's hump day.
Look, hump day needs to have a new meaning. I'm just saying. All right, so what else you want to cover? What else is there to the Rowan of the Woods?
Other than a lot of self-denial. Like, I'm just kidding. I do my readings. I do my saints. Well, I don't do my saints. I venerate my saints.
Gotcha.
That's a whole other topic. That's a whole other.
So
I'm not sure.
I'm trying to think of things that we've talked about in the last couple days to come up like with another question because I wrote those down so fast.
Ancestors.
Oh, there we go. Yes, your memory's much better than mine.
I have a memory like an elephant.
People think I do, but I really like if something else comes in, something's gonna get pushed out.
I have memories from when I was 5-year-old.
I hang on to not so nice things because I am a grudge holder. And the good things, bad.
Revenge.
Yes, burn it all. So ancestors. I don't really speak about ancestors. Well, okay, so it depends on how you look at an ancestor. Some people have the manner of thinking of it is somebody before your time. And then I've heard people say, well, it's just someone that came before you that you didn't know or interact with. So I'm not really sure where I put my placement in that.
And my belief is somebody before you who has passed on. You, for example, I was talking about my great grandmother.
Right.
She died in 2015, so I remember I was like, what? How old? In my teens. Still in my teens. I'm still in my teens, but anyway, whatever.
You don't come off that, so I'll put that out there, and I think most people out there agree. I would have never guessed your age at all.
Yeah.
Because I live with the same age.
Yeah.
Other than Grandpa that was in here earlier.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah. Technically at that time she was still alive. She wasn't my ancestor. But now that she's passed on, I find her as my ancestor.
I got that.
Although I did descend from her and she could technically be considered my ancestor, I consider an ancestor somebody before my time who has passed. So for example, my grandma now who's alive, I don't consider her an ancestor. The day she dies, I will.
Understood.
At the point when they're living, I just consider them relative. In the sense that they're relative the day you're living. They're relative to the day you're yeah.
That makes sense. And I see where other people, their side of, they weren't born in your lifetime, or sorry, born in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a little bit of sense to me too, because I don't know, something about the interaction I understand, like the non-communicative interaction with that being.
Hmm.
It is more celestial than a being that you are communicating with now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I kind of see it both ways. That's why I'm kind of like in the middle of. I don't really have a like an altogether firm standpoint. I do believe that my ancestors that I have not interacted with that were gone before me
Hmm.
communicate stronger than the ones that passed on when I was 2 to 3. I have an
And
uncle
I
that died.
and I feel like if I cut in just for a second,
No,
I feel like that also returns to the ones that have been way before your time. They're not getting attention, so they're more because a lot of people don't remember them.
right.
The ones that you have now, you know the saying, "You die two deaths, the one of your physical and then your spiritual. If people forget you,
Yes.
that kind of thing." They're kind of jumping for it. Meanwhile, the ones that you knew now when you were living on Earth, they're still being remembered. Because even if you're not like lighting a candle, them giving water, just because you're remembering them, it's giving them energy as well.
Hmm.
So you can see a point in that. Because the ones far in the past are communicating stronger is because they want that attention.
Right. Which brings up another side to that. My family history and a lot of people's family history is kind of convoluted, right? So people that passed before I was around and
Mm-hmm.
before there was technology for the memory,
Mm-hmm.
how do we know if it's an ancestor? I mean, I guess it would tell you. The ones that I've come across have told me.
Yeah.
But I would assume there are some cases where they're kind of like, I'm here, but I don't, like a nameless space, an
Mm-hmm.
energy that you feel, but you can't place,
Yeah.
which makes me wonder, like, how far back, can we go before it becomes something else? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see that. The whole maybe when it comes to having that entity, and you're not sure it's your ancestor. What I would do would be like go to the ancestors that I know now and be like, "Hey, is this one of us?" Because they're on the other side, they should know.
Right. That's true.
So
That is very
um,
good.
even if they may have no clue who that is because they passed on, they'll figure it out. And if it's not, they'll be like, "Bye, Felicia." No,
Right.
or
And,
even go to your deity and be like, "Hey, is this person my ancestor?" Because
right.
they'll know.
How many ancestors we all have out there that we have no idea?
Millions and probably
Right.
all the way to the beginning of time. And that also brings another topic. Another topic. Um, how many ancestors do we have at a given point in time? Because I see a lot of people, a lot of ancestor worship. I see a big uh, theme as they'll just pick one or two. Like venerate my great granny and then my grandpa, and that's all that I venerate.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, what I actually do is whenever I'm honoring my ancestors or communicating with them, I address them as ancestors of blood and bone, names unnamed, known and unknown, stretching far upon the ages. So I include them all, just in case I don't forget somebody.
That's
Both
beautiful.
both the ones that I know and the ones that I don't know. So I could be talking to like billions of ancestors at once, or just maybe 100, or just maybe two. It's all relative to how things work on the spiritual side that we don't know about. So whenever I address them and give offering to my ancestors, I mean my ancestors as a collective. And of course, on certain days, like birthdays, say my great granny's birthday, I'll call upon my ancestors, but then also single her out.
Nice. That's an
But
excellent way of looking at it, and an excellent way of giving the action like a phrase. Like I would have never thought of that.
basically, my little prayer is I call upon my ancestors of blood and bone, named and unnamed, known and unknown, stretched far upon the ages of both my mother's side and my father's side, of every creed, color, culture, and religion. And that's how I started
That covers everything.
everything.
That's amazing. That's genius. That's genius.
Creed,
And
color, culture, it covers everything.
I'm
And
kind of
usually my opening prayers are the Our Father, Hail Mary, and Glory Be. And if I feel it, Saint Michael invocation.
Saint Michael. Okay, why Saint Michael?
To protect from anything that is not my ancestors or negative. And in a lot of traditions, he's believed to be a psychopath, a farrier of the souls between the living and the dead.
Oh, and we're talking about the archangel.
Archangel Michael, yeah.
Look, you got to clarify with me because I have no clue.
Noah,
No.
Archangel Michael. Because there's a lot of belief that he is not the angel of death, but a guide between the next world and the from the present to this. I mean, from the you know what I mean? Life, death. He's the ferryman.
He's the one that carries you to one place
Mm-hmm.
to the other. Make sure you get there.
Kind of like if you think the angel of death comes down, and usually the whole kiss thing, you always hear, releases you, and then kind of Saint Michael whisks you off.
Like
Or that's how I've learned.
Yeah, like a carrier. A carrier
Mm-hmm.
similar to a Valkyrie in a different.
In a different sense, yeah.
They pick you up and they take you where you're supposed to be because you have proven yourself on the battlefield. Blah blah blah. So it's interesting how things cross mingle like that. Like different name, different thing altogether, but it's very similar to this over here, which is vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
And you can see the whole warrior because Saint Michael is the commander of the heavens and the angels of God. So you can see the warrior connection.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Did you ever watch? Everybody probably has that movie Legion.
I've heard of it. I never watched it.
The depiction outside the horror part, that's the imagery I get when I think of like archangels and stuff like that. Is armor, steel
Sword,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
and
you
it's
see it in Constantine.
yes. I love that movie. That's one of my favorite. I like Keanu.
The grandma in the fucking.
She just wigged like she freaked me the fuck out. Like out of the whole
She
thing.
had a potty mouth.
You talking about my potty mouth or hers?
Hers.
Okay. Yeah, she was bad. And then
almost the same.
Yeah, it's very similar. I'm horrible.
She was like saying some shit that I would never say. I'm not saying a lot. And I'd probably say it. Never mind.
I don't think you have a potty mouth. I don't find
you don't know me that well yet.
Well, from what I know, you don't seem to have a potty mouth, and I'm waiting on it to be unleashed.
If you were at my work, you would know.
Okay. So, do we want to take questions?
Sure.
Okay. So, if you guys, I know I've sort of been looking. If y'all have any actual questions, put them in caps. I think that's how we've been doing it. And I see Pepper Jackie. Can a spirit guide be an ancestor? Someone that maybe the family didn't agree with?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I feel like a spirit guide. I don't think a spirit guide has any kind of limitation as that. It's whatever the universe assigns. Or like, if you think of it in whatever God assigns, universe assigns, it could be.
I don't see why it would.
We'll see why not.
You know, that's a very good question. I'm rereading it to make sure I read it properly. Can a spirit guide be an ancestor? I don't see why it wouldn't be able to. The family not agreeing with it, like, it's not really their choice at this point in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like in like Mulan, the grandma says, "They're dead. How lucky can they be?"
That's a good point too. I like that. Okay, family member that is estranged. Okay, Pepper Jackie, I think we're getting to the fact that, like, they might not have gotten along in that life, but this is a different life, so the family doesn't have to. He's there to be your spirit guide. right? I mean, that's the way I look
Mm.
at it. It's not there for anybody else other than you. um, I'm gonna look back and see if there were any more actual questions because a lot of they're just talking.
Creole's what's Creole talking about? Is he talking shit?
Probably him and
Noah.
Rowan is a great tarot reader, sometimes too good.
I'll have to give you a reading if you allow me.
Readings, I'm telling you, when Tequila reads for me, she like slaps me in the face.
I'll have
So
to.
yeah,
I'll
I
have
would
to
like.
read for you
Yes, please do because I need to. I
after the
need.
live.
I need to see the other side because she's on point. I'm not gonna lie. Like she fucking kicks my ass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not okay. I'm not seeing any more. Pepper Jackie, you're welcome. Celtic Crow said she has energies like that are just kind of nameless.
Mm-hmm.
My mom always said when a rooster crows at night, it's bad news coming.
Mm-hmm. And also another one, Red Sky in the morning, Sailor's warning, Red Sky at night, Sailor's delight.
Yes, I've heard that one. We have one, and it's more on my like the native side,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember if it's my mom or my stepmother. My stepmother was a reservationist, like she was born on the reservation, so she's tightly knit in that community.
Mm-hmm.
But there was 3 crows is a warning of death,
Yeah.
and then her father, so my step grandfather, which I actually loved very much. When he passed, she saw a crow out the window the same time, and it was just one singular crow. And the same time he was passing, like literally, he was like, I see everybody, and everybody's waiting for me. They're all waiting. It was the bizarrest, scariest, saddest, happiest thing that I've ever witnessed. Well, I didn't witness it, but I've ever heard of. And he said that he could just see everybody, and she saw the crow, and then he took a breath, and then he was gone.
Hmm.
And that's just so crows to me. I see the good and the bad, but I know 3. I've always been told in my family 3 is death or something of nature.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to think of crows, though.
This isn't a folk like saying, but whenever my grandmother would be scared of a thundering storm when she was a girl, my great grandmother would tell her, don't be afraid, Shirley. It's just the angels cleaning house." And I think that's the cutest thing that I've ever heard.
That is cute.
I was actually told. Oh, what is
No,
it?
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was actually told a story by my grandmother that apparently she and my great grandmother actually saw like an actual angel. Like, swear to God.
Like, okay, I'm waiting on the rest. Where?
Okay. Basically, the story was that they were outside. I think they were like watering the plants, and this dude walks up to them and says, "Would you mind if I have some water?" And then she was like, "Sure, no problem." And then he took the hose and was going to drink out the hose. And she was like, "No, no, no, that water's hot. Let me go get you a glass of water." And then so she did, brought it to him, and he was like, "Thank you," and then walked off down the street. And turned the corner. So if he turned the corner and you walked down there a little bit later, you'd still see him going down the street. But I guess something my grandmother it just kind of shocked her, so she went to go see where he left and went to. It probably wasn't like a minute after he turned. She went down the little corner and he wasn't there. Nothing was there. You could see down the road for like a mile or 2. No trace.
Wow. I've heard of, like, you see stories like that, or stories of, the encounters, or people catching glimpses of
Angel.
an angel.
My great grandmother saw many spirits too. Like, the story that I remember the most is that she was sick in bed one day, and this old lady sat next to her, like clear as day, like me seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of felt the sit down part, and she looked over and this old lady, and she said, "Get up, You're not dying now. Get up. And then gone.
I love that. Ooh,
And then I get shivers. And then my aunt lived in my great grandmother's house for a long time. Great granny basically took care of all the kids, but she would lay on her bed in the back because I could see the house layout right now because the house is still there. I spent many weekends there, but in the back room, she would lay and sleep. She'd hear scratching under the bed. Of course, they had cats, but the cats were outside.
okay.
So she would hear scratching and like knocking, which ugh. And then there was this one spirit that didn't like my uncle, and my married into the family uncle. So they would slam the kitchen cabinets on him, like straight up, like that kind of thing. Like you couldn't say, "Oh, the house isn't level; it just opened." Okay, if the house is not level, how's it opening and closing and opening, closing and slamming and slamming and slamming, shit falling out? Yeah,
Yeah, that's not normal.
that house is haunted.
Yes.
Like for her, she lived there by herself for years, even though she was an older woman, just herself, and she had no problem. And I would stay there, and I would feel something in the back. Like I wouldn't want to go to the bathroom by myself because it was dark and it just felt ugh. But she lived there by herself for years. She had never any problem.
My uncle, that reminds me of a story. My uncle, when he bought a house in Montgomery, he remodeled it. You know, they say like sometimes remodeling can aggravate them. And I have when they redid the bathroom, they found this old silver rouge container or rouge cup.
Oh yeah.
It's actually I've got a set of earrings in it right now from somebody's grandmother. But he would go to bed and whoever the lady was or the man, it could have been either one, like
Mm-hmm.
anytime he left food out and didn't put things away in the kitchen, he would come in and the kitchen would be like destroyed. Cabinets open, bread out, just things everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it would drive him nuts. And like my cousin stayed there for a little bit, the only other female that was born into the family other than me and my mother. And she was like, she it used to freak her out, but she was like, whoever lived here needed a clean kitchen. Like you cannot leave things out in her kitchen because she will just throw things open, leave things out, open the dryer. Like it was crazy. It was very bizarre. But your story reminded me of my uncle's stories.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly think my great grandmother was a witch, like low key,
Mm-hmm.
because her family was she came from a Hopi native background. I think it was my fifth great grandmother that was the full blooded one. And
Mm-hmm.
she was versed in herbal knowledge. She passed it down to her daughter and her granddaughter. It didn't get passed down any further, I don't think. Either somebody forgot or just never had the chance to learn. But other than that, because she always burned incense, my great grandmother. She had one on the kitchen counter, which is a little island. She would always have incense burning. Sandalwood was her favorite. She would have one in there, and then in her sitting room where she would knit, she had like this little TV tray that had all of her crap on it, and then she would have an incense always burning. Um, my aunt told me a story that my great grandmother had actually gotten to the little wagon, or great great granny, I don't know which one, got in the wagon and went to the reservation that uh, my native ancestor had. And they walked in, and you saw crystals everywhere. You saw incense burning. You saw smudges and stuff like that. Um, but yeah,
It's beautiful. Like the time I just wish things were a little bit more simpler and people were a little bit more open minded to the uses of crystals, meditation,
yeah.
the energies that you can pull from doing Reiki and whatnot.
And see, great granny's my great great grandmother was a midwife. She actually
That
would get in the covered wagon with the town doctor and go to place to place delivering babies.
That's heavy duty.
Mm-hmm.
Because back in the day, they didn't have the same stuff, so labor was a real thing.
Herbs.
Herbs, exactly. Huh?
And I have
Nothing.
a couple of remedies that I was told that she used to use. Mustard and onion poultice for pneumonia. And then sassafras tea.
Sassafras, what?
Tea.
That sounds very familiar.
For pneumonia and chest cold and stuff like that too.
Huh. My mom's in the chat. Oh, why does sassafras sound familiar to me? She'll know.
I think sassafras was used for the cold and pneumonia.
I want to say it is. It's a remedy, and I want to say it's like that's very familiar. Like I've heard somebody else say that, but in my family, it's a thing. It's just like it triggered a memory that I can't figure out where it came from.
I think sassafras makes you sweat, like heavy duty. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Pull the fever out.
It pulls the fever. Yeah.
That probably makes perfect sense. Probably, it does make perfect sense.
And those are the only remedies that I was told.
You wrote them down, though, right?
I wrote them down, yes. I have a little notebook.
That's awesome. Have you ever thought about connecting with her to get more information?
I thought about it. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I need to.
Because, sometimes shit just hits us like, why didn't I think of that 10 years ago? Because you didn't need it at the time.
A friend of mine who did a reading for me says that on that side, which is my father's side, the only ancestors that would come through was great granny, her daughter who died, and then her son-in-law, my great grandmother's son-in-law, so my dad's dad. Those are the only three that actually come through the most often. Is the picture that I showed you, her daughter, and then married grandma. So
Gotcha.
So mother, daughter, son-in-law.
That's pretty cool that they're staying a trio,
And then my mom's side is the one who's all there. Like everyone's there.
Everyone's there as in alive, or everyone's not?
Like those three come through, but everybody on my mom's side's like, I'm here.
Gotcha. They want to communicate. Let me you.
And that side has Native American on them too.
I want to do my ancestry so bad. My DNA.
I'm Cherokee, and I'm not Cherokee, but like bloodline is Cherokee, Hopi.
Cherokee and Hopi.
Hopi from Arizona, Cherokee from I don't remember where Cherokee's from.
The way me and Mom have always been told is we're Blackfoot and Crow, which way apart from each other. But if you break down some of the Blackfoot traits, totally have some of that shit. Because I'm mean as a little bat.
And then I was told that in my family they came over from California, and then they moved to Indiana, and then my great grandma moved down here.
Okay.
And I think I looked on the cemetery that my family is buried in Indiana, and there's a Demeter statue in the cemetery.
A Demeter. Nice. Do you work
Goddess. With her? I love her, but I don't work with her. I would want to, because I do a lot of gardening.
I need to do more research on. I'm very closed off, really. Like the more you talk, I'm like, oh, I've heard the name, but I have no idea what that is. And I'm like, oh, I feel kind of silly, but sometimes we just don't branch out. I don't branch out a whole lot, but this kind of stuff makes me want to learn more because I had no idea about everything.
Demeter is the mother of Persephone.
Demeter's the mother.
Goddess of agriculture and grain and gardening and stuff.
Okay. I want to say I knew some of that because Alex was heavily into Greek mythology.
Greek, yeah.
Yeah.
Roman, she'd be Ceres.
See? That's where it gets, because like in this pantheon it's this, but if you look at this pantheon, they're very similar if not exact. Just different namings.
Different energies and entities too.
True. We know somebody else that works for the Aphrodite. I know, like,
no.
No, it's somebody else. Raven works there. But that's not where we were going with that conversation. I don't know where we're going.
For Snow, I bought an Aphrodite statue for her birthday.
Oh.
Did you see it? It's white and like marble-ish.
I want to say she posted something either on Instagram or Facebook of the. Yeah, it was beautiful.
So we'd be matching. I have the same one.
I did not know that was you at the time, though.
Really?
No,
You only knew me from the chats with Bobby and Wednesday.
No, I just didn't make the connection.
Speaking of which, Wednesday, that heifer never texted me back.
She's like that. Don't worry about it.
She only texts me back when I'm yelling at her.
You'll get a 2 a.m. text, be like, bitch, what you talking about? You know, whatever. She's fine. Let her do her thing. Let her go swimming. Let her eat her chicken necks. It's okay.
Damn chicken necks.
Damn chicken necks, chicken feet. It's like she eats everything but the damn body. Let me stop. Oh my goodness. What, okay, so where are we at? I'm looking for questions, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions.
Nobody's interested tonight.
I see. And it's like, really? Why?
Because we got a good chat going on here.
They do. They're all talking to themselves. I see him. Where's Bobby? Oh, everybody's asking where's Bobby at? I haven't seen Bobby lately either.
Bobby's on Facebook.
I haven't seen him. Oh no, he posted something on his story yesterday or today.
He's always posting something about either Selena or dragging Jennifer Lopez.
I'm gonna kill.
We're talking about Mariah Carey.
Fucking Mariah Carey? Are you serious? Like, I'm so over her.
Oh.
I don't care.
I'm gonna like cut this one clip out of the video and send it to him.
I miss 90s. She was good in the 90s. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I miss Selena.
Huh?
I said I miss Selena.
Selena is the queen.
Yes.
Because she can make you cry. She can make you want to dance. She can make you want to shake your ass in ways never. You know, Shakira ain't seen that. Exactly. It's so catchy. That's my house cleaner.
No me queda más.
I can't. She will make me cry. If I watch that movie, I cry the whole time. And listening to a couple of her albums, I just want to cry. I can't even understand half of it, and the tone makes me want to cry. You know what I'm saying? Like when you can feel what they're coming across.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Mom said something's not true, but I don't know what. Mariah Carey, dislike her.
What's not true?
I don't know. Because it also soothes the. I'm backing up. Sassafras will make your hair grow. Like a beard on ladies. Okay, I don't know about that. It could be. I don't know. My family members have several experiences with banshees. They're just talking.
Banshees, yeah.
Banshees. I don't know much about banshees other than the mythological, like television-y type.
Mm-hmm. Charm.
Yeah, pretty much. That's really all I know. I think that's it. I don't really see any questions, so whatever, guys.
Whatever.
But okay, I'm just gonna leave his touchscreen. We are listening. I know you're listening, but you ain't asking nothing. Okay, so I think we're gonna cut it off here, and I'm going to, as soon as this, I'm going to link your channel. So I hope you have things in mind.
I do. I have one gonna go up tonight.
Oh my God! Really?
We'll try to have it go up tonight.
Can I know? Can you tell me?
Later.
Okay.
Off the live.
Okay. All right. So, guys, I answered your question. I don't know which question you asked. I mean, answered. It goes so fast because they're just chitty chatting, and all I saw was not true in caps, and I don't know which not true, what answer, which. All right, Mom, tell me what is not true. Which part is not true? What did I say that's not true?
Hopefully the bearded lady part.
No. Vibrant spirit. Oh, thank you, at Creole Witch. I don't know the Saints, but it was nice to see April and Rowan Woods. I want to know more about the Saints, is what Mom's saying. Sassafras. She was talking about sassafras. Not true. So that's nothing from our side of the family.
Okay.
I've heard that shit somewhere, though. And it felt family-like. It could have been from my other grandmother, too, though. So.
I want to know more about the Saints.
My mother wants to know more about the Saints. Rory Wart in the chat, by the way. If you ever see Rory Wart in any of these lives,
yeah,
that's Mom.
Yeah. Need to be specific because there's a lot.
I'll get her to text me because we could be here all night. I want to. Okay, Mom. No, sorry. Creole wants to know more about Rowan's first spell that he worked. Is that a conversation you and Creole had?
I'm trying to remember. I don't know. First spell I worked. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know. That sounded super specific, so I thought that was like an inside thing.
If it is, I'm sorry.
Noah wants to know if we're hanging out after this.
We can.
We can. Like, he can't see what you're saying. I'm looking at the computer like, we can. Oh my God.
I'm not doing anything.
The only thing I have to do is move out of the bedroom so hubby can go to sleep. So Noah, I will send you a link.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna get off here, and just kind of chill for a little bit, and in this, and I'll have the tech guide upload it because I don't know how to do it. So, all right. Cold. Oh, now she's telling me to use the daggum sassafras tea. Jesus Christ. Love you, Mama. I shall talk to you later. All right. Everybody, this was Rowan Woods' introduction, and he's going to make videos.
Try to.
There is no try. There is only do.
I will.
Okay. All right. Good night, guys. Say good night.
Bye. Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.